So it's Labor Day, and we decided to take the family for a hike. This is something we've been trying to do quite a bit this summer, and we're really good about it at first and have not been able to do it a lot so much since. So it's good for the kids, except for this little turd back here. Just keeps getting heavier and heavier. He eats more, but he's still refusing to learn how to walk. So we'll just call it progressive overload for me, right? I just get to lift more and more weight each time as we go for a hike. So, no real rules as far as what to wear when you're out on a hike. Just make sure that it's actually functional. You know, you can see period movies from 200 years ago when men certainly hiked in suits because that's just what they wore all the time. I'd say go with some performance stuff. I like to just wear a t-shirt. Then I have on these cool shorts from Oliver's Apparel. These guys, I've used these a lot in the gym, and they're even good just like everyday shorts. A little bit on the shorter side, but it's good for something that looks a little bit more adult. And then just some old New Balance trail runners, which have been pretty good. So yeah, nothing too nuts. Don't be afraid to beat anything up either. I mean, that's what it's there for, is to be outside and worn and beaten up. So go out, go hike, it's fun. I think one of the coolest things about being up hiking is how friendly everybody is. There's just something about being up here, and it's close quarters, but I mean, you're close quarters when you're in the city too, and people are just friendlier. It's kind of nice. So
I thought you were talking to me. It's like we've had this conversation.
See, you guys don't get any original content. I just rehash conversations I have with my wife. You totally just outed me.
Sorry,
You're
babe.
faking,
Oh, no.
Dad.
You're faking, Dad.
You're faking. I promise I won't do it again. So yesterday I got turned on to an article that was published on the Washington Post, and in it they're talking about why Americans dress casually. I thought it was really interesting, especially because the girl who was being interviewed is a fashion historian, which is something that I had no idea existed, and I think would be kind of interesting for me. I kind of want to figure out more about what she does. But she talks about how what it really comes down to is the idea that we used to have more kind of delineated class lines. There was a harder separation between upper, middle, and lower class. And up until prior to 1920, most people wanted to dress and appear as much as they could like they were part of the upper class. And then post 1920, and then again, especially in the 50s and the 60s, you started to see a kind of a whole cultural move away from that. And the other thing that she attributed it to was the role of degenderification, I think is what she called it. Basically, women started wearing pants instead of wearing skirts. And those are the two primary reasons that have moved us down into a culture that celebrates the fact that we're more casual than anybody else, and that's globally kind of what we're known for. And I think it's a shame. I think it's too bad because to me what I see is, one, that we used to be comfortable with the fact that men and women were different, and that wasn't a bad thing, that we had complementary natures instead of there having to be competitive, and now we've moved towards this androgyny of women trying to be like men and men acting more like women, and it's just really kind of embracing the bad in each of those aspects. And then at the same time, it's this idea of culturally, instead of looking up and trying to aspire up, we're all moving towards the lowest common denominator. And I think both of those are a shame. And I've written plenty of articles about the idea that style is something that should be aspirational and is beneficial to us when it's aspirational. And I absolutely believe that that's the case. I don't want any part of a society that embraces mediocrity because it makes people comfortable or because it's easy. And I don't care if that's mediocrity in the way that you speak, or mediocrity in the way that you do business, what kind of physical shape you're in, how the quality of the relationships you have with other people, or how you dress. I think mediocrity is for the lazy, it's for the weak-willed, and I want nothing to do with it. And one thing to clarify is it doesn't mean that, I don't think it's necessarily that we're a casual society, but we're a sloppy society. I think a lot of times people assume that in order to dress well, you have to dress up. We see that all the time. And obviously, I'm an advocate for dressing up. I work for a company, we make custom suits, and I spend most of my time in suits. I love the idea of dressing up, but that's not the only way to be aspirational. It's not like the refined archetype is the only one that is applicable in an aspirational or in a moving forward, a building up society as opposed to a declining society. I think that all three of the archetypes, refined, rugged, and rakish, are all totally applicable to aspirational men who want to improve themselves. And there's ways to dress like that they may be casual as far as non-formal, non-refined, but they're not casual in that they're not sloppy, they're not unintentional, and they're not they're still deliberate. And one thing that she said that I think is a great point that she made, I've tried to make this point myself a couple times before, but she said it in a much more succinct statement than I did, than I have ever been able to, is this idea that anti-fashion is still fashion. For me, in the way that we talk about it, I would say for us, anti-style is still style. I have guys, I get links to different forums or articles where people talk about me, and inevitably there's always comments saying, that masculine style guy, that tanner guy, there's nothing masculine about the way that he dresses or what he advocates. And these are always the guys who say that their uniform is baggy cargo shorts, combat boots, and a Slayer t-shirt, and they care about their appearance just as much as I do. They believe that their appearance expresses their masculinity just as much as I do, and that's the case. The irony is that it's anti-style to them, and the opposite of really caring about style is indifference to it. It's the guys who don't take the time to actually make any sort of a comment or any sort of quip about who we are, what we care about, or why any of this matters. So really, whatever it is that you fall into as far as your archetype ratio, whatever it is that you aspire to, just aspire to it. Don't be part of this culture of casual, because casual is death. It's death of a society, it's death of an individual, it's death of any sort of aspiration or any sort of goodness. And don't be casual about stuff. Do it intentionally, do it well. That's the whole thing that we're about with masculine style. It's deliberate, it's intentional. Do it. Okay guys, hope you like this video. I've still been enjoying doing these, and I'm starting to get a lot of good feedback. A lot of it's coming privately, but anything you want to say, leave a comment down below. Subscribe. The more subscriptions I get, the more comments, the more likes I get, then the easier it is for my ego to say, yeah, I'm going to keep doing these. And I continue to hope that you guys get something out of this. But yeah, subscribe, leave a comment, and we'll keep going.